Hello, welcome to episode number 224 of the TEW 2020 Challenge Run. This is going to be Friday Night SmackDown for week 2 of February, as we continue the build to No Way Out. And off last week's show with Roman in the main event, we haven't got quite that on the cards for tonight, but it should still be a fun show. Without any further ado, let's jump straight into the show. We're kicking off with the Bloodline again. And Paul Heyman's like, ladies and gentlemen, let last week be a lesson to anybody who thinks that they can outsmart. I mean, they can take it to the Tribal Chief, because the Tribal Chief, he knows what's best for his family. And Ray, you big family man, you put your heart over your head, and you fought the Tribal Chief, and look what happened. Your son, your flesh and blood, got attacked by Jimmy Uso in the back. Seth Rollins on your hands. Jacob Fatu launched him through a wall. And then of course you got embarrassed by the Tribal Chief in the main event of the show. So now we continue to move on to No Way Out, where the Tribal Chief will look to retain again. And then Rey Mysterio and Dominic come out. And he's like, you're right, Paul. Last week I did lose to Roman Reigns fair and square, and that's nothing to laugh at, because Roman is a hell of a competitor, whether I like him or not. But you think this is the end of it? I'm not going to have you disrespect family, because my family got me here. My family got me everything, and now I'm standing here with my own son. And to hear you talk about your own family the way you're talking about your own family, I can't let that happen, because hell, some of my friends were from your family. And I'm not going to rest until your big mouth is closed. Then Seth Rollins comes out and he's like, you know, Ray, you know what I see in there? I see the champion, Roman Reigns, who's overcompensating for something because he thinks he's the Tribal Chief, the head of the table, when he's not. We all know that he has to cheat to get everything that he wants. We have Jimmy Uso, who is the kiss-ass cousin, because, you know, his cousin's not around anymore because he's at home recovering. So Jimmy got to try to do everything he can to try and stay in the good books of the Tribal Chief. Then we've got Jacob Fatu, who's just a big dumb bulldozer. And then that angers Fatu. He's like, you know, you're pissing off the wrong Samoan werewolf. Hell, you know what, Tribal Chief? You'll get the night off tonight. Then Roman takes the mic, actually. Roman probably say this because Heyman doesn't tell the Roman what to do. And he's like, you know, I'm in guard mode. You're just jealous of my success, Seth, and Ray, and Dominic, and even The Rock, all jealous of my success. I'm having the night off. Jacob will do with one of you. And Ray's like, I don't mind if I do. I'll take him on. I know I look like the underdog here. And then Dominic's like, no, Dad. Let me have him. And Ray's like, son, are you sure? And he's like, positive, Dad. Come on, do you not believe in me? And Seth's like, eh. But it's going to be Dominic and Jacob Fatu in the main event, is the point. And also, I forgot to mention in that segment, they make a challenge, a 6-man tag, Ray, Dominic and Seth versus the Bloodline, Jacob, Jimmy and Roman, for the pay-per-view, No Way Out. So that 6-man tag is now set for the pay-per-view, and now it's Dominic versus Jacob Fatu in the main event. Anyway, and speaking of 6-man tags, the Elimination Chamber participants are in one here, and Bianca, Tegan, and Kylie defeat Shotzi, Ember, and Alexa. Bianca pins Ember with the KOD. The team with Bianca, who is obviously the most over in the match, and the SmackDown Women's Champion, Tegan, had to get the win here, really. There's not really any other option. 71 for Bianca, 63 for Kylie, 74 for Tegan, 65 for Alexa, 69 for Shotzi, and a 77 for Ember Moon. Not too shabby. After the match, we get a vignette with the House of Black, who debuted last week. Alistair anointing Brody King and Elias with the weird smoke stuff. And telling them to let go of their past, and he tosses Elias' smashed guitar into the fire because Elias is now a follower of the House of Black, and that's going to be the best thing that ever happened to him. Because once Andrade's group is dealt with, it's on to them to recoup all of the gold here in WWE. And then that fades away and you see sort of Kayla sort of just looking at her telly, watching it confused, like, what the fuck am I looking at? When Legado de la Sombra walk in and she's like, oh, really? You're watching this again? You want to talk about Aleister Black? Listen, us here, Legado de la Sombra, we've got a lot of things on our plate. We don't want to deal with this. We thought this was past us. But if Aleister and his little friends want to think they're all cool and spooky, then we'll meet them in another 6-man tag team match. The second 6-man tag team match confirmed for No Way Out will be Andrade, Mendoza and Wilde against Aleister, Brody and Elias. Like, well, we'll settle with this at No Way Out, but we still have issues with Johnny Gargano because he cost Andrade the Royal Rumble, and Candice LeRae put her hands on an injured woman. You don't just get to do that, Kayla. So when we embarrass Aleister and his spooky black and send him back into hiding for another 6 months, we want the Garganos to be watching because that's their fate if they dare mess with us again. Got it? Good. Speaking of the Garganos, actually we don't actually see them yet, so it's fine. I can't say that. Out comes Corbin and Moss. Not Moss. Nese. Fuck's sake. I knew I was going to do it. Happy Corbin's here. And he introduces his friend, Knee Jerk Nese. Because I don't have Madcap Moss anymore. Because I got rid of him like a year ago. And I would bring him back, but he's still angry at me for firing him. So maybe when that sort of stops, I'll bring him in and we can reunite Pika Physique as Happy Corbin's lackeys. Because Knee Jerk Nese is still here. And he's the Madcap Moss for Happy Corbin. Because he tells some knee-slapping jokes. And that's when Gargano, Candice, and Bayley come out. Because Bayley's friends with Candice. So they sort of just stay together. And Johnny's like, you know, Corbin, I'm glad you're having a good time around here. Because I'm not having such a good time. I thought that I was on the up and up and I was going to get my career back on track. But I appear to have hit a wall. So I need a win. And I need to get myself back in contention for the WWE Championship as we head into WrestleMania. So what do you say, Knee Jerk Nese? Me and you one-on-one right now. And then that match happens, gets a 70. Gargano makes Knee Jerk Nese tap out with a 639 with a Gargano escape. 82 for Johnny, 62 for Knee Jerk Nese. 70 for the match, which is fine, I guess. We then get just a hype video, because I've got nothing for these three on this show, like Roode Ziggler going over their rivalry and Bron Breakker hyping himself up about why he's the goddamn man and shit like that. And how they're all going to become the US champion. They all want to become the US champion, but only one can at No Way Out. Breakker, Ziggler, and Roode. Triple threat match for the US title. Just a nice little segment. Nothing really worth describing. Just a hype video, which I like to squeeze on. I like to advance every storyline I have on most shows, even if it is just in like a vignette. 82. Sasha is backstage at a boss, work meeting. An actual work meeting, not, a Christmas pie. When she's like, fuck it, I didn't come here to analyze stats, Dana. I know the stats. Like, we beat Io and Kairi's ass last week, so if I can't beat the SmackDown Women's Champion heading into WrestleMania, we should be the Women's Tag Team Champions, since Indy's injured and Mickey, don't even get me started on her. And Dana's like, well, if I calculated my stats correctly and the maths is all lined up, they should be free at No Way Out, and so should we, so we could maybe stake our claim for the Tag Team Championships at that pay-per-view. Sasha's like, great, now let's party. Dana's like, what? She's like, we're done here, aren't we? Let's celebrate our future Tag Team Championship win with a actual work party. Go and change out of this stupid outfit you're in and meet me back here later on tonight. And Dana's like, okay, whatever. Oh, it's got 65, okay. I thought this was going to get dinged, because I think they're both unimportant. But it didn't, which is fine. Utami's getting a 61 at 25 pop, there we go, that's why she's here, basically. And, of course, as a free agent, she can wrestle on both shows. She's now wrestling on SmackDown. She beats Dani Luna in 6:33 with the Samoan drop. 61 for Utami, 52 for Dani Luna. And the quest for her services across both shows heats up. New America. Oh, he sits there. He's like, So, Sammy, what were your takeaways from the tag match last week? And he's like, I think that Babatunde and Kushida couldn't get the job done. He's like, wrong. Why do you think they couldn't get the job done, Sammy? And he's like, because they are distracted because the New America is not united because you aren't living up and fulfilling the message that we have you deliver. You went to Raw, you got your ass beat by Keith Lee, and you just sat and watched as Kushida and Babatunde lost last week. What's going on in your head? Are you still angry about the whole attacking John Cena thing? Well, that's done, Sammy. That's happened. We haven't seen John Cena or Kurt Angle since. Pete Dunne and Keith Lee, they're angry at us, sure. But we're angry at Matt Riddle and Drew Gulak because they beat us to qualify for the Royal Rumble, and that was your fault. They beat Babatunde and Kushida last week. That was your fault too. Next week, me and you teaming up against Drew Gulak and Matt Riddle one more time, and we're going to beat them this time, Sammy. And do you know why? And Sammy just sort of stays quiet. He's like, Sammy, after Sammy, do you read me? He's like, do you know why we're going to win? And Sammy's like, because I'm going to do what you tell me to do. And he goes, exactly, now we're getting it, Sammy. Now come on. We've got some stuff to do. Kevin Owens show. He's like, welcome to the Kevin Owens show. Now, I know you missed us last week, but to be quite frank, we were still licking our wounds from the Royal Rumble. I'm not going to debate it. We should have won that match. I should be the one going to WrestleMania and wrestling Roman Reigns. Or maybe it would have been me on Raw saying I was going to wrestle Finn Balor. Who knows? Because AJ, he fucked it all up for us. Anyway, moving on. Kevin Owens show, KO Mania on the horizon. And AJ's of course in the background like, what the fuck, bro? What are you on about? Kevin, he's like, I'll have you know, I was in the match for number 6. You came in number 30. So, you are the one that... I shouldn't have got as far as I did at number 6, Kevin. You should have won coming in last. Omos, he came in. He eliminated half the field. We were working together. And your negligence, your teamwork... it's because you were ordering me about maybe if I took control of that, we'd have got Big E out, we'd have got Cesaro, and then me and you would be fighting as the final two. And Kevin's like, oh, AJ, what? Come on, buddy. We're friends here. We're all friends here. Bivens Enterprises. This is the greatest faction in SmackDown history. It's got the greatest wrestlers in it. And the giant Omos. And Bivens he's going to cry if we keep shouting at each other, Bivens. Just hug him and let him know it'll all be okay. And Bivens is like, I mean, I'm not going to cry, but AJ puts his arm around him like, Bivens, it'll all be okay. And then out come the Street Profits. And Tez is like, well, you see, Dawkins, you know what I see in there? He's like, yeah, I'll tell you what I see, fam. I see cowards. And then Kevin's like, who are you calling a coward? He's like, no. Not you this time, Kevin. Those two. He's pointing at AJ and Omos like, you see, they're the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. And last week, we got a big win. So that should put us next in line for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. And... AJ's like, well, listen here. Well, we will defend our championships well and good against anyone that we feel is worthy, but me and Omos, we need to see a bit more from you. And then Kevin jumps in, he's like, you know, I'll tell you what. How about I go one-on-one with Dawkins right now? And when I beat Dawkins, then Montez Ford will face AJ, and if by some miracle either of the Street Profits win tonight, then they get the Tag Team Championship match at the No Way Out pay-per-view, AJ. And he's like, well, that's a good idea, but he's like, fam, say no more, Kevin, bring that ass here. And then Dawkins and Owens starts 80 rated match, and Kevin Owens beats Angelo Dawkins in 8:31 with a stunner. 71 for Dawkins, 82 for Kevin Owens. So we then immediately head into Montez Ford versus AJ Styles. 86. And, of course, Tez beats AJ Styles in 11:59 with a frog splash. 82 for AJ, 73 for Montez Ford. So he does earn the Street Profits Tag Team Championship opportunity here tonight. At the expense of AJ Styles after Kevin Owens beat Angelo Dawkins? Backstage segment. Danny Luna is with Flash Webster and Mark Andrews after she lost to Utami earlier on. She came up and it's like, when we came to SmackDown, it was such an opportunity for us to prove to the world, but it appears all I've done lately is lose. I can't really seem to get it to Kev. And then she slowly stops talking because the House of Black just sort of stand there. And Alistair just walks in front of all three, sort of looks at all their faces and just chuckles. Pats him on the... does a little tap on the side of the face as he walks past. And they're like, what the fuck is he on about? The boss party's in full swing. She's like, yeah, Dana girl. See, this is what it's on about. Me and you, future tag team champions. See, I don't need no Bailey. Indy, she can come back when she's well and good. I certainly don't need no Mickie James. Okay. Me and you, we got this. And Dana's like, we sure do, Sasha. And then she's like, well, who the fuck is this? Anybody we've invited is already here. And opens the door. Guess who stood there? Io and Kairi. And they punch Sasha in the face, and they fight them. They fight around the office party that Sasha's hosting. Some sort of confectionery would get poured over one of them, and then Io's like, "Okay, we'll accept your championship match, Sasha, on one condition. Next week in the main event of SmackDown, me and you 1-on-1 for the first time ever, because." They fought in NXT in real life, but I believe that may have been during what would have been during the save time, so I don't think it actually happened in the save, so I think it would be the first time ever on this save. Anyway, Sasha and Io were doing it on SmackDown as the main event next week, because I've been subtly teasing it for a while, ever since Io first came to SmackDown. It's not the WrestleMania World Title match, it's not the WrestleMania match for you, the people, so we're going to do it as a big main event on a SmackDown, heading into the tag match at No Way Out.
We're gonna stand on top with our hands in the sky. Gonna raise our cup to the stadium lights for the glory, for the glory. We celebrate with the city tonight. Hear the hometown cheer, it's the ultimate high for the glory.
I'm actually okay with this. It's actually pretty good. In an 80 rated main event, Jacob Fatu just destroys Dominic for 9 minutes and pins him with a Samoan drop. Like, Dominic can't move, and we might even have to have him do a stretcher job to get him out of the ring because Jacob Fatu has just annihilated him. And 86 for Fatu, 76 for Dominic Mysterio, and there's a somber end as the Samoan werewolf stands tall as we end SmackDown. A show that gets us an 88. How the fuck did we get an 88 here? Is it because of Montez Ford and AJ Styles? And the opening segment? Whatever. Okay, I'll take the 88. But of course, what matters more than the 88 is what you thought of the show. Do let me know what you thought in the comments below. And I'll see you next time for 225, Raw's Go Home Show. We've got two big women's main events next week. Because we've got Io and Sasha in the main event of SmackDown. And the main event of Raw is Becky versus Charlotte for the Raw Women's title. See you then.